Yeah, so I think we are live. So hi all, I welcome you to weekly development meeting of Meshery. This is a meeting that is run every week. It's a weekly meeting and happens on Wednesday, and we talk about all the things on Meshery project, which is the fastest growing CNCF project and is a cloud native manager. Resources specific to the project is linked into this Google Docs, so feel free to take a look at them. If you are not part of the Slack community, we have a very warm community of individuals who are working on the project. So it would be nice for you to chime in. So for that, I have dropped the Slack link in chat. I will once share this Google Docs with you all so that you can get started by writing your name and adding any agenda item that you have, which will include any issues that you are working on or pull request that you need help on, or any general enhancements or proposal that you might have on the project. So feel free to go ahead and write them down. We are a little less on agenda items, as you can see from the meeting minutes. Before we get there, we'll be doing some housekeeping items, and the very first will be about if you are joining this call for the very first time as a newcomer, why don't you go ahead and give a quick introduction? So before I take a look at the participants, if you are someone joining for the very first time, please unmute and give introduction. Like you can talk about the technology that you're working on right now, or whether or not you have got any issue in hand to work on. So these details.
Hey everyone, am I
Hi.
audible?
Yeah, you are.
So my name is Briansh and I am currently a second year computer science engineering student, and I love programming in Go, and recently I attended newcomers meet of Meshery. It was very fun there, and also learned about E2E testing using beds by Riya. So I'm currently looking at Meshery CLI and looking at the code, and I'm also working in an issue. So yeah, that was me, and really looking to contribute more and more. Thank you everyone.
That's great, Priyansh. And I have seen you around the repositories making pull requests, so that's just also awesome. One of the maintainers, Mia, she recently published around 50 good first and getting started issues. So hopefully we'll get there and you all can participate who are first timers. So those are specifically for first timers, and I've seen you participating in them. So thanks a lot. And yeah, if any one of you are wondering, we talked about a session given on newcomers meeting last week. So very quickly, we'll be talking about the next session that we will be having this newcomers meeting. So thanks a lot, Priyansh, for your introduction. I'm again taking a look at participants, and Diego, do you by any chance would like to go next and giving your introduction to all the participants? If this is the very first time you joining this call.
Sure. Yeah, it's my first time in this call. I joined the community 2 weeks ago, and we made the decision to start contributing to the open source, and we went through this project and we liked it. We're just starting checking on the repos and seeing where will be our part of contribution going to, but I'm excited to be here. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you for joining the call and giving your introduction, Diego. We also have Piero with us on the call, and so I wonder if Piero would like to go next and give his introduction to all the folks.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Piero. I'm a cloud engineer. Indeed, I work I work with Diego in the same company at this moment. And yes, I mainly focus on GCP, but also Azure and AWS. I know also Java and Golang. I think I can be useful on whatever of the topics I mentioned. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, hey, so it's really great to have you join the call, and thanks a lot for introduction, Piero. Looks like we have got one more newcomer, but I really cannot pronounce your name. That I think is in Chinese. So if any one of you who are familiar with the language can help pronounce their name, it will be great to welcome them on the call and also for them to give their introduction. And I think I'll ask Jihan for help if she could help,
Okay, so, Dao Pinrui, can you give yourself a short introduction?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I sorry, I didn't notice my name was in Mandarin. And hello, everyone. This is my first day to find this open source community, and I'm new to this. And I'm previously uh, a backend engineer in Taiwan, and I'm happy to meet everyone here in the community, and I am excited to contribute to the community. And thank you.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Jihan, for help, and thank you for giving your introduction. It's really great to have you on the call, and
Yeah.
we're also
Sorry to interrupt. Can you say your first name again?
Sorry, my name is everyone can call me Bill.
Bill.
Like the Bill Gates Bill. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Or like Wild Bill, or like Kill Bill, or like
Yeah.
Lester. Good.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Great to have you. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Taiwan.
Yeah, very good. So it is what you might be the winner for the latest hour. What hour is it right now?
It's now 10 p.m. here.
Okay.
Currently.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks,
Good.
Lee.
Yeah. Nice.
thank you, Lee. So I think that's with all the newcomers, we have left no one behind. But if I did, please do make sure that you give your introduction in the chat box. With that, let's get started. And once again, I'll be dropping this meeting minutes in the chat box so that you can get access to all the issues that we'll be talking about, and so that you also can write your name in the attendees. So we have a set of a standing agenda item that we cover every week, and we are again missing Matthew, the CLI maintainer. So I think we'll be skipping past this item, but I'll be sure to drop the command tracker, which is basically for checking which commands are right now remaining and which are being worked on. And then for UI, we have Amit. So Amit, do you want to share your updates on?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a spreadsheet where we track all of our UI migration for the Meshery UI that we did. And there is not much update, but like there is a little update, like some of the component was migrated, like this component recently. And now only these three components are left. And we are done with. So this basically we are migrating the class-based component to the functional-based component, and we are pretty done with majority of the component. So there are only three components are left now. And apart from the other migration was like the RTM migration, and for that there are some PR that Fahim created, and it is under review. And for some of the other components we don't have any assignee for that. So if anyone wants to work on the RTK query migration, so yeah, they can chime into the sheet. Yeah, this is pretty much updated.
For the Grafana and Prometheus components or the migration, I haven't seen Falgun around for some time. It might be that that we won't see him again. And so I suspect we're stalled there, or for sure we're stalled there because it's been months and months of trying to do something in this area. And so, yeah, it'd be good to make it. Yeah, for those that are interested on the call, if you're front end oriented, we could use some help here. So, Amit, just as a recap, so we're on Material UI version 5 completely.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
on node, I think node 20. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Amit.
Node 20.
Node 20. And then we're on React.
Yeah, we are in like 12 version.
Okay.
Like
I
for
hope
provider UI, we migrated to the Next.js version 15, but like the other extensions, we are still in the Next.js 12 and the React version of the 17. Yeah, so we need the migration done like the latest version of the React and the Next.js. Yeah.
Okay. Recently, there was a contributor that also had, well, I mean, this has been proposed any number of times that we move to TypeScript in the UI, and I think that there's lots of support for that, but just a question as to whether or not we're ready as a project that there's enough maintainers around to be able to do that, to support contributors that are doing that. But anyway, anybody have questions on the front end on Meshery UI anyway? There's a number of other front end projects that are Meshery extensions. Canvas, I think last week, Mahadevan probably, I think he demoed, well, probably the latest Meshery extension. And so Mahadevan, real quick, is there an update since last week on that extension?
Yes, we have made quite a lot of this from the last demo. It's more complete and usable now.
Okay, all right, good. Maybe you'll share details about that in the chat and let people get you some feedback. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Amit.
Yeah, so thank you, Lee and Amit. That looks like it for standing agenda items. I'll be sharing this GitHub milestone for our next release train. So if you would like to take a look, please do. And then we also have a currently ongoing contributor training schedule. Like on every newcomers meeting, in the latter half, we take one particular component of Meshery and try to walk newcomers through. So 2 sessions are already done. And if you would like to take a look, you can check out this particular GitHub issue. I will be sharing the link in chat. And then for like every Thursday, we have newcomers meeting, and the next newcomers meeting that would be tomorrow, on Thursday. There will be a session on Meshery CI taken by CI maintainer Sangram. So recently there was like, we updated the social, event there. So this is how it looks. Just in case you would like to take a look at it, I'll be dropping that as well in chat. The link that will take you to the meeting timing and links to join the meeting links, it will be into this calendar link that's also in the social post. So that's again in the chat box, and there will be many such coming in the week, so stay tuned. All right,
What?
I think that's all for it. I think Lee will be making this announcement.
Yeah, hey, great. Hey, sure, I will. Actually, Vivek, we couldn't hear what you'd said, the last thing you'd said. I think your internet cut out. But just to recap, tomorrow there's a weekly newcomers meeting. So there's so many new folks that come through this project. We dedicate a meeting a week just to try to embrace folks and get to know people and get them introduced to the various activities that are going on in the project. And actually, I wasn't aware that Sangram Roth, one of the maintainers, is giving a session tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting because his focus, I guess, in this session, he's got a lot to share. He ends up focusing a fair bit on, well, continuous integration and continuous delivery, kind of build and release processes, a lot of DevOps processes around Meshery. I mean, Meshery is a tool for hopefully helping DevOps engineers' lives be a little bit better. And so he helps maintain the Meshery playground as one of the 54 things that he does. So this is great. So tomorrow, did this start at the same time as this meeting? The contributor training?
No, an hour earlier.
So 1 hour earlier from our meeting time today.
Yeah.
There's the newcomers meeting with Sangram. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And very quickly, there's this calendar link that you can use to access the timing. So
Okay. All right. Well, hey, different topic. There's an announcement. We've been talking as a project for a little while on the sheer size of our code base and the concept that Meshery is an extensible platform. And so we were just mentioning, I think one of the latest extensions, which is shapes.meshery.io. There's a small unusable web app out there. That's a burgeoning extension that is now as a repository located under a different organization. So I've distracted us with this. Can you yeah, thanks. Good. I distracted us with that example. What I mean to point out is that Meshery now has two GitHub organizations. One under Meshery, there's about half the repos there, and one under Meshery extensions, and there's about half the repos there. We have yet to announce this broadly. It's not a secret or anything, but there's just a draft blog post that you all are welcome to review. It covers a little bit of governance for how the extensions are run a little bit differently, a little more loose, so to speak, or that the individual contributors are much more empowered to own and advance the extensions themselves. That's part of that's part of what we intend to communicate to people, that bifurcation of our orgs, the Meshery org and the Meshery extensions org. Part of what's being communicated is that the repositories and the projects that are inside of the Meshery extensions org are gosh, man, we have to read the blog post to articulate this well, but like community supported maybe, or like your mileage might vary with them. And that the core platform components are much more intensely supported and rigorously tested and focused on. Anyway, there's a bit more reasoning and justification for why we split out the two. So feel free to review the blog post and make comments and ask questions. Speaking of questions, does anybody have questions on this split?
Does this mean like the mesh models that we have within the repo will not be there anymore? Probably dumb. Sorry, but yeah.
No, it's good. No, it's kind of a point of it's a good question. Actually, it's a little bit probably a point of confusion because if you look at Meshery as a platform, one of its extension points or one of the ways in which it is extensible is by the different types of models that you load into Meshery. And you can go make your own models and have Meshery manage well, whatever your model. And so those models are certainly, there's a collection of them that are extensions, or rather that might be appropriate to store within Meshery extensions. And then there's a collection of them that are shipped out of the box, so to speak. And at the moment, there's not clarity over or all of the models that we have, or almost all of them, like out of the 300, 298 are supported by the project and are shipped out of the box. And then there's like a couple that I think were like example, like custom models that we'll want to, it's a good thing actually for someone to go pick up on, we need a level of classification inside of this on meshery.io. There's like a catalog, and in the catalog, there's a list of a few hundred models. There is not currently a label or a classification for the support level associated with a particular model. And that would be a good thing to do. So I'm going to share, since we're not showing what
We
that is.
had done that, right? Like we had added that this is community supported and this is Meshery supported. We had done something like that previously, I remember.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see if I can show where that might be. So this is the Meshery catalog, and inside the catalog there are right now 3 different types of artifacts, or 3 different things that you can purchase, so to speak, from the catalog. Meshery designs, so individual Google Docs or individual designs of infrastructure. These different models that contain any number of individual components that you can configure and use inside of your designs. Okay, fine. And then WASM filters for Envoy. If we look right now, what's presented, and maybe this is a regression because this has happened any number of times as people work on the catalog, is that functionality is lost. Maybe we had a support level out here where we do, there's another catalog that's through this remote provider and has all the same designs. It doesn't have models just yet, but what it does have is classes, like a support class. Content, so content that you find that has the official label.
Official verified, or it's from the community.
Yeah, so if we were to take this same classification and add it to the community catalog, I think that would help clarify. It would just help clarify the support level, and it would probably be quite healthy because any number of people will come to this particular catalog, open up a design, and this one. Open up a design and maybe it was just a test design, or like maybe, but Lee at one point thought it was useful to share, I guess. And so maybe it works, maybe it's amazing, or maybe his persistent volume isn't connected. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, it's a good, I mean, I think it's a good question, Kapil, because it's not entirely clear. We're not.
Okay, so the motive of this question is like sort of if we are trying to get our code base to be a bit more lean as a contributor or somebody who just wants to focus on the server that runs this whole thing and the mesh operator and like the Kubernetes components that we have, having to have enough memory on my machine to be able to like sort of have those models load in and still have some left to run the UI again. That makes like sort of it a little bit difficult when I'm doing it on a VPS or like something that I've bought on a VM or something like that. So that's that. I thought, okay, now we have the heaven. That's going to be out of this, then yeah, it will help me a little bit. So very selfish question, but just wanted to understand.
Yeah, no, so it's worth touching on that for a moment, just to help. It's very relevant to this discussion about extensions. Actually, if you look at the, gosh, now that I point this out, if you look at some of the extensions that have been built for Meshery, there's a brief list of what those are. And these are not listed in the catalog. And actually, maybe they should be. Maybe there should be like a collection of extensions that are part of the catalog here. That's one way of thinking about it. The reason I bring this up is, one, it's like, hey, this is the right time to ask that type of a question, where the repos, it's like if you look at the extensions, there's any number of them that are Meshery adapters. And that's an adapter is one type of extension, just like a Meshery model is one type of extension. And the repository for each of the Meshery adapters, those repositories have been moved to the Meshery extensions GitHub.
Yeah.
Oops. And so my point was, not only Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my point is in part like to reinforce what you were saying, Kapil. It used to be that the default installation of Meshery would come fully packed with as powerful as it could be with
And yeah,
all the adapters, like 10 containers. And yeah, then it would take up system resources and it would. And so anymore, that's not the case. It's just one container up to the point that you connect Meshery to a Kubernetes cluster, then it installs an operator. Anyway, good.
thank you.
That's a point of clarity. I mean, I would take that feedback because that's a point of clarity to drive into the blog post to help classify. Good. I think first up, we've got Nikita, if Nikita is with us. And we talk about schema validation, how it is that Meshery's a schema-driven project.
Right. Hello, everybody. Yeah, just let me share my screen. Yes. Right. Okay, so yeah, I was working like on a model build command, and as a part of model build command, I was performing a validation of folder content over the schema. And yeah, so for this, I was using like a library Go JSON schema. Yeah, I think it is like the library with the biggest number of stars, like for Go language, and it's like perform validation actually. So yeah, I also did a brief search, and we didn't use it like directly anywhere, like in Mersync or in Meshery itself. So like yeah, I was trying to figure out how to use it, and I got like a mixed result. So I got some issues with our current schema structure, and but eventually I was able to make it work. So let me first like speak about like the issue. So like this is yeah. So like I'm running model build command that is doing validation somewhere, and it returned me an error that could not read schema from HTTP. I did like it's not very obvious what does it mean, but like yeah, I did some debugging and about this, and I figure out that like the issue is in resolution of these references. Yeah, I cannot highlight it, but yeah, like this one. So, and I like just wanted to showcase it even because I have it right now running in debugger. So like, yeah, you see here, like there's like a correct reference, like relative path to core JSON, but somewhere very deep inside the library. So when we like step further, when we step and step one more.
Nikita, have you, is that package abandoned? Since it was released 6 years ago, the last release about 6 years ago. We
No, I don't think so. Yeah, go ahead. I think it is, and this package is actually mentioned. Oh wait, but it's interesting. I didn't check this one actually. Maybe you are right, but this package actually mentioned in the schema. Yeah, maybe something wrong with the package. That's true. That's true. This package
Maybe.
also, by the way,
We also
Yeah,
use
Nikita, like
the existing
yes,
library. Yeah, go ahead, Abid.
so I was mentioning like there is like another library that the OAPI code gen that we use for the code generation recommends to kind of like integrates nicely with that flow, because when it already generates the struct, this another library is called like Go Playground slash validator. It just uses those already generated structs to do the validation, because it just adds some additional struct tags for the validation, so we don't need to like actually go again through the schema, parse it, and like resolve schemas, because that gets again complicated. So either we need to like again bundle the whole schemas, like resolve schemas, or do the like the resolution on the fly, which gets a bit complicated. So this like just uses the already generated struct that the other like code generator generates the struct, and it uses that for validation. I think in specific cases there might need to be like some specific like struct tags might need to be added to the schema for like do it work more strictly, but it just use like directly the artifact that the OAPI code generates like the structs and use that for validation, and it's like mostly the recommended way from that plugin. I think actually I was not able to see, but I think there might be some config for that to generate like kind of like generate the bindings automatically, or maybe we might directly use this. But I think this kind of like easily goes with our flow, and I think this also like pretty
Which
much
one
in
from this one
this.
you are talking about?
Yeah, the no like not this one. The Go, it's called Go Playground slash validator. So it doesn't directly work on the schema. It works on the structs generated from those schema. So it's not like directly as schema validator, but it works on the
Okay.
structs that were generated.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Can you write like in Slack? I will also take a look.
Yeah, I sent the link in Zoom chat also.
Yeah, maybe it's not about amount of stars. Maybe really it's not really.
Well, yeah. Well, I
support.
didn't mean to. I was really only asking that just to say, hey, if we're having trouble with it, and there are others, and one
True,
thing.
true, yeah. This is
Stars.
also like, yeah, this is also like this one library probably which was suggested by, yeah, so probably we can double check also this one. By the
Nice.
way, I didn't check like if it's recent or not.
The
Let's
thing is,
just
we
check
are
now.
we also already have a user package for schema
Oh, this
validation.
one is, sorry, yeah, this one is more recent, yeah.
Nice. Yep. So
Actually,
we
I don't
have,
remember like if we use one in backup. In front end, we used to use like the AJV8, but I don't remember what we use in backend. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe we
So,
can give a search.
yeah, I'll find it. We do have one already that we use, and so we should continue to use that or prove why that one isn't doing what it's doing, what it needs to. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. So like, if you're talking about Meshery repository, then like, so this gorgeous on schema is in dependencies, but it's like in indirect dependencies. So like,
so yeah,
somewhere it was. Wait, I just need to go to Go mode, yeah. So it was already here, which was not added by me actually. Yeah, but so yeah, if you have like examples of usage somewhere, so please share with me.
good. And then outside of this, Nikita, so I shared a link to a Google Doc that talks about schema-driven development, which I think in the past I really only pointed out the Meshery architecture deck, but there's a doc that was written previously that will help as you go to refine what's published in Meshery docs. So eventually, maybe we can get rid of the Google Doc in lieu of what's published in Meshery docs, just on schema-driven development. And I bring that up because in part what that guide will say is, here's the validator that we're using for client side and server side validation of schemas. I'll find
Right,
the
right.
Speaking
but
of
like
validation,
yeah, let me quickly show like what was the issue. So like, I mean, like I think when we reach like this, like 139, like you see, just like take a look at this data, it's now correct, and when we come up here, so like right now it will be just like overwritten to you see, So like it's just put in this domain, and yeah, and then it's try to query it as an like a remote link, and it's actually not working because we do not have anything here. But yeah, so like what I figured it out is like actually the issue with this with this library or with our schema or whatever is just like when we have like ID field. So like if I just tried for the sake of like debugging to remove ID, and then like the references is resolved correctly. So maybe it is something like in specification of schema itself. Like, how do we use like ID, which is right now in schema, except that it is just kind of, I mean, like identifying, yeah.
The ID.
Yeah, because like I saw like for example in category, I mean like do we use it somehow or it is just like I don't know.
I don't think that we are using it. It's just a proper sort of the proper canonical reference for where you would find this particular thing. Actually, when we talked about potentially having a website, if you go to schemas.meshery.io, the idea being that actually that website would serve you up the latest schema for that construct, for the category construct.
Because
But
like
yeah,
for example, like when I go to subcategory, you see, so it's in subcategory, it's also category, not a subcategory. But I
yeah,
assume it's just like by mistake,
no,
yeah.
no, they're not being used.
Yeah, right. Okay, and so just like as soon as I'm here, just spend 1 more minute. So what I was talking about, so I prepared, I just like went like yeah to this to my schema, which is locally removed like from here like all IDs, and then like when I where am I?
Yeah, but if you're still talking about the behavior of that other library, that's probably not the best use of our time. Is that what you're talking about? Right? Because we're already saying we're using one. Let's go find the one that we're using. See what the behavior of that one is. Actually, the more important thing to talk about is the reason why you're looking at schema validation. Very important thing for us to do is schema validation. But the reason why is for Meshery CTL model init, I think, and then probably for a bunch of other reasons.
Model build, yeah.
Oh, model build. Talk about that a little bit if you would. You've made some progress and.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was working like on the model build command, and so what is model build? It's like yeah, so we have a folder. We have a folder with our like model structure, and which contain like the model component and yeah other like elements, and we want to prepare from this like folder with JSONs or YAMLs or CSV. We want to prepare a tar, which is like OCI image, and yeah, this is like what about like this model build command. Just let me point to an issue which is related to this topic. This one. Yeah, so in my progress about it, I already able to, so I prepare the interface for the command, like so interface like of how we interact with the command, and I actually was able to use like meshkit utils, which is like actually doing like the job like building the tar from the folder, and right now I'm working on the validation part. And so for validation, I'm using this like validation over the schema, and right now I'm like working on this yeah, resolving the issue with the library or figuring out if it is some issue with our schema definition. That's my updates on it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Even without validation, our validation isn't the blocker outright. Certainly something we want to do. But it's not blocking this work per se, is it?
I actually thought that it's an important part, but it could be a long one because, like, yeah, from what I pointed out, it's not just as simple as just like here is like folder, here is like schema, validate. So it's not working with one leap. So if it is not a blocker, then probably we can skip it for now and go without it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's like validation of schemas and their use within the project. Extraordinarily, it's been a topic. Like, you can't believe how many times like schema validation has been a topic, particularly on the front end of. But yeah, in this case, I don't think we shouldn't let it block your progress, but we should absolutely have clarity on what the project is using for JavaScript and for Golang's, interaction with schemas and that tooling and much investment into that tooling. And so yeah, good. Yeah, good.
Right,
I found
right. Because like, yeah, if we do not need validation, I mean, right now it's already building like an image. So yeah, I can probably wrap it up without validation and yeah.
Well, I'm excited about that. It's,
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, that's all for this topic.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nikita. So it looks like Fiona is up next. Take a look if we have, yeah, we do have Fiona on the call. So it would be helpful if you once did let us know, Fiona.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so my PR was based
Yeah,
on
so ideally you will start sharing your screen and walking all of us through the changes that you've done.
Yeah.
Or if like you're not ready yet, we also can circle back if that's the case. If not, please take the screen.
Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. So this is the PR on testing the Meshery design apply command, and what I did was test that it's successful when you pass a valid design file path, and that it fails when you pass an invalid path. So basically, I assert success on the design apply design file and assert failure for the part that is invalid. Yeah, that is for me.
Ria, any comment here?
I have to review this one. I haven't reviewed this one.
Yeah, I read because I just dropped the link to the pull request, so hopefully, Ria, you can take a look. Does anyone else have any feedback? Okay, so then thanks a lot for sharing your update, Fiona. Maintenance will be sure to take a look at your pull request and offer their feedback.
Okay.
Looks like next up we are missing Tamagna, so we'll not be going through this item. But Gaurav, by any chance, would you like to go next?
As such, I'm right now working on Meshery CTL registry generate, which was previously blocked because of the URL thing, but now it's done. So I'm working on this. Nothing great, nothing as such more updates on this. I'll put a PR very soon on this.
Makes sense. Then
Let's skip the shape builder one if it doesn't perform its job.
Ria, looks like you are up next.
Yes, I'll be sharing this. This PR is ready to be merged because these are all the errors that I could find. One is that if the tag was not, if the latest release could not be found, then this particular error was being shown. So now it would be shown a better error message that user can act upon. And for this one, also for a private GitHub repo, again, error message is improved that we are not able to make a GET request to GitHub. So these two errors are combined into one. And the next one is invalid source URL format. So if we have like a blob or tree in the URL, then this particular error would be shown. There is one more, but this would be the changes for this would be made in server in Meshery repo. So this is in Meshkit. So this PR is ready to be merged if like I can get some review on it. And yeah, I addressed the things that were mentioned over here. So this one is it. And then, so for model import, to make it consistent with what we have in UI, CSV import should be added to model import. So I just added a demo video on this, and yeah, it works fine. And we can, so this PR is merged. So now probably we'll need to make some documentation changes around this. And yeah. And also in this, we can also have, so we have a model generate command. Rather than having a model generate command, we can make changes to it to make it similar to what we have in UI model create. And that goes through an interactive CLI wizard. And then user can create like the way we have in UI, we can have a command in CLI just like that. So I was trying to propose that, I was working on that. And model import, okay, I can, this one was demoed last week, so I can maybe skip this. The another PR that was merged recently, which was, just a second. There's some problem. Okay, this one. So there was a problem. If you see registry, if you see the registry generate right now, if we create a spreadsheet and publish it and use the URL format that was previously over here, like use this URL format, then it doesn't work. It throwed an error. And so the, in this particular PR, what Vinay has done is, first we will try to download from the old URL. If it does not download, then we would use a new URL that we found. So that URL is mentioned over here. This is the URL that worked for me and for Gaurav as well. So probably this would work fine. But for to make sure that Meshery integration sheet does not fail, we also have this particular we first download from the old URL, not from the new one. So this PR is about that.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have.
There's a couple of things, Ria. The CSV imports, they're going to get stale at some point. The formatting of the CSV will continue to evolve and change, which will make them an ongoing sustaining effort. Something that we need to be aware of. The model init command doesn't suffer in the same way in so much as it directly refers to the schemas and auto generates the templates from there. Just sort of data points to highlight. I would suggest that as opposed to focusing on Meshery CTL model generate, that we just leave that experience to the UI for people to be able to walk through it there. If they want to programmatically generate models, they can do so using the CSV or using they can do so in a number of other ways. Instead, what really needs focused on is the generation process itself, the current process. One of the things that you and I have, and maybe me more than you, have let slide is the cleanup of the transition from Artifact Hub as a registrant to GitHub. And you've done some diligence and it's sitting on my plate. And almost anything that's on my plate never really gets done because I just spend all my time helping everybody else. And that's fine. We just need to acknowledge that Lee doesn't get anything done. So it can't be on me directly, or like, I'm here, I need to help you, help me help you. Don't let me be the blocker on that very important research that you've done for transitioning to GitHub, if you would.
Okay.
That'd be really helpful.
Okay, got it.
This is great stuff. And yeah, thanks for making sure that the existing generation flow with the CSV, the download of the spreadsheet continues to work. And hopefully that's the first format that's attempted, and then the other format is attempted. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. By the way, we were talking earlier on the meeting about tomorrow's training with Sangram on DevOps related things related to Meshery. Last week, wasn't it Ria Miss Garg who was giving contributor training on, yeah, it was on end-to-end testing with Meshery CLI. You're using this Bash testing framework. And so that's pretty cool. I just wanted to try to embarrass Ria again one more time. So the training is recorded. If you know how to use Bash a little bit, then you'll probably be successful, just like Fiona is being successful with writing out some tests. The end-to-end tests are pretty fun to do too. So cool. Okay.
All right, so thanks a lot, Ria. And yeah, like I have shared the link to the session that Ria took, so in case anyone is interested to take a look. Next up, Jihan, would you like to share this update of yours on docs?
Yeah. So I was working on, so for now, when we have some tall and narrow images in the layer 5 dots, it will look kind of awkward. It's doesn't fit, so I add how to customize the image size in the contributes guide here. Basically just use the raw HTML to do it. And I clean some dead link in that dots also. Yeah, that's basically what I have done in this PR. And for the question of how to centralize the contribution dots, I was thinking maybe we could add a contribute link here. So we don't need to duplicate the dots in 3 sections.
Yep. I'm not paying close enough attention to give you feedback, but yeah. Do you want to say it real fast again? What was it like?
Yeah, so you mentioned how we can centralize the contributes guides for 3 sections, and I was wondering if we could add a contributes link here.
No, but you can put it into the read contributing.md. Probably we would just take the guide out of the docs, maybe, and just put it into contributing.md or something like that. If not, it's okay that it's published. It's okay that it's published in the docs, but probably there would be no link exposed to it in any of the user-facing docs. Rather, it would just be a link from the contributing.md to an unlisted page like this. Think about it. Watch the recording to understand what I just said if it didn't make sense.
Okay.
Good. Good.
Yeah, that's what I have done.
Fahim, would you like to share next?
Yeah, sure. I don't have any major update, but I was just going through some of the minor issues that were listed inside the Mystery Cloud. So for most of them, I asked some more information, but yeah, for some of them, like there were some small changes that I made and fixed some of the small issues inside this, like some of them, like this one. And for others, I have asked some more feedback as they were already like working perfectly. And next, I was just testing my RTK query so that I can get it merged. So yeah, these were some updates.
Makes sense. All right. So we still have 2 minutes left, and so I think Abid, would you like to share this?
Yeah, let me quickly go. So yeah, I have a quick update on one of the latest release features in Meshery. I think was released yesterday, and that's adding support for exporting your designs to Helm chart format. So we already were supporting exporting to manifest as Meshery design itself, and this is the new one is now adding support for Helm charts. So your existing designs can now be directly exported to Helm charts, which can be later be pushed to some OCI registry or used to deploy your infrastructure. So you can see I got this untitled.rgz, so you can export on your design. So the only catch here is that the Helm chart and any other like particular IIC based export is a lossy export. So because Meshery is kind of a rich editor, it allows you to define your infrastructure, but also allows you to annotate it and add additional information to it and review it. So that information will be lost when you convert it to a Helm chart or when you convert it to manifest, and maybe in future we might support customize. So any of those particular IIC formats, we end up stripping those annotations because they are not supported there. So when you export your design as Helm chart and you try to import it again back into Canvas, you would or Meshery, you would see those information being lost. Like if you had added a comment or if you had drawn some shape or tried to add some annotations to like to say what the infrastructure we're doing, that would be lost, but the actual infrastructure based logic like configuration would be still there, and you can directly deploy your design using Helm, or if you are directly exporting to manifest, then you can directly use Kubernetes. So it's just that it's a lost sector, but all of the actual infrastructure related information is related, like retained. So any quick questions because pretty low time.
That was the
Yeah, I have, yeah.
I've seen Abid speaking. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I just want to make one quick call out to Piero and Diego, which is, by the way, Piero and Diego, and you guys' names are so close to one another. It's and you're both work at the same place. I don't know. It's going to be hard to keep keep it separate. Anyway, between the two of you fine gentlemen, you might be the first experts to come test out this feature. Does this feature make sense? What Abid was sharing? That's right. Gonna make it awkward. Piero, Diego, you guys there? Where'd you go? We didn't have enough jokes in the middle of the meeting? Too much schema validation?
No. We have here. Sorry.
Yeah,
But Diego is in the office and I am at home. I don't know if Diego is there. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, Diego is there. Yeah.
How beautiful. I wonder, I wanted to ask you, well, I'm going to, we awkwardly do everything that we can to get people involved in the project to the extent that we tell bad jokes and we make you introduce yourself in front of everybody when you first join. It's terrible, but hopefully hopefully it endears you to the community and you find like some place to latch onto. And I was just thinking, given your expertise with DevOps in general, like Helm is a familiar tool for you guys.
Yeah.
We just dropped Meshery, just released a new feature, and that is the ability to take a Meshery design, like the one that's being shared here. It can be any design. It can have actual component, real components that you can, are configured and have valid configuration, or it can just be like a drawing of like a Valentine's Day letter to your mom or whatever, because you can draw that kind of a thing in here as well. And what just got released yesterday is the ability to export the design to a Helm chart. I'm hoping you guys might be able to like give this a whirl, like give this a try.
So the full deployment will be exported into a Helm chart.
Yeah. Yeah. You should be able to take the Helm chart and just, do a Helm apply or push it to, if it's an OCI formatted export of Helm, you could push it to a container registry, pull it back. You could even take and drag and drop the exported Helm chart from your desktop onto the canvas, and it should re-render. Now, one of the things that Abid was just saying is like, Abid, do you want to say it again about the lossy nature of the export?
Yeah, so because like we have to convert it to Helm, and Helm doesn't support like our own intrinsic annotations. We have to strip them out. So like in the previous design, I had added some annotation with the pen, and as I re-imported the Helm chart back, those are lost. So all of the infrastructure related information is retained, but the annotation that Meshery itself uses are stripped away. Like if you had any comments or shapes or any like drawings, so which are not actually like semantic to the infrastructure, they get stripped away. But all of the configuration stays, and all of the components stay.
I think it's a nice thing, but maybe on the import side, not on the export, at least on my point of view, the professional or point of view, because usually for these kind of things we usually use more IIC solutions like Terraform, but maybe for a Helm chart that comes from somewhere and you want to see visually or show someone what is going to be deployed, this looks like a great addition to the tool. I don't know if that's a capability as well, or it just works with exported Helm charts from Meshery.
Yeah, it works both with like if you are exporting from Meshery, or even if you have some remote on other like Helm chart, it works with them. So it kind of completes the cycle. You can import any Helm chart and you might edit it, or you might just visualize it and again export back to Helm chart and do your thing. Like it fills into your infrastructure pipeline, so you can just like in the middle you can visualize it or even like edit it and again export back to your Helm chart.
Does it have the capability to maybe read from Helm repos directly?
Yeah, that's an I think an open issue on the release train, that adding
That would be
support for
a
like
really
Helm
cool.
repos as connection and then importing from there. Yeah.
But yeah, I think realistically more on the visualizing from a public Helm chart than the export part, of my opinion. But I don't know if.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Especially for a company that maybe is not going to develop any sort of like public Helm chart, because as I say, we usually like the platform and these kind of things like workloads. We just use IAC and not Helm. But we get that's from public repos, so.
Yeah, so that's a good point, that like a part of Meshery's roadmap is to continue to expand its support for the different types of IAC that you can import and that it understands and will render for you. It's important that this small feature here, the ability to export back to a particular format is I think it's important, or the reason that we brought it about is so that people don't get locked into using this tool. Maybe they really enjoy it because it's a multiplayer, because they can use it to comment and do design reviews, because they can understand what's going on, because they can develop best practices and share them and publish them and all that, all the things that it can do. But then maybe they're using a separate GitOps flow, or they're like, or they just want, maybe they want to use Meshery to deploy, which you can. There's a whole side of Meshery that's all about deploying these designs and interacting with Kubernetes and that full life cycle. But yeah, to your point, in the past, Meshery has been readily imported from Helm repo. Meshery does support importing from Helm repo in bulk. And it'll improve its support, to Abid's point, but you can do that today. And then, yeah, if you want to export it, you can now as well.
I think it's good that you can make the tool or the solution usable, like not lock it to use from the start to the end, but maybe to some of the parts. That's really good.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, some people use it end to end, and others might just use various segments. But then, yeah, your point is extremely well taken. That like Terraform, for example, is right up there on the list of the IC formats that Meshery should readily interpret. So is Nikita, and so one of the topics that we were talking about earlier on the call with Nikita, you're looking at like just API, open API and JSON schema validators. And those are also important for Meshery's ability to transcribe between formats, between a Terraform type format and something else. And so anyway, this is great. Diego and yeah, Piero, if you guys do me a favor, if you would, like go grab just a Helm chart.
Okay.
Go to canvas.new or like playground.meshery.io, drop it onto the canvas and see what you get. See if it renders for you and if it's helpful. I mean, yeah, anyway, that type of feedback into the project, like what Diego just said, is contributing. I mean, like that counts. I mean, so that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, folks. Looks like that's it for the call today. And so just in case you want to take a look at or you want to catch up at any particular part, you simply can refer to the meeting minutes. That's also linked down in the chat and it's available on our community forum. Before we wrap the call, I'll quickly once again remind that we have one training session tomorrow on newcomers meeting. And if you want to know more about that, like the details and meeting timings, I'll be sharing the link as well in chat. So yeah, I will see you there in the event with maintainer Sangram if you join. But till then, I'll meet you all next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Bye.